Your product, faced with hard luck. Faced with hard luck. Card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Pimps and card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Your product, faced with hard luck. Faced with hard luck. Card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck. Pimps and card shots, thieves, murderers with hard luck.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Hard Luck Show. I'm your certified, qualified West Side host, Steve Lucky Luciano. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you tuned in to the greatest show on earth. It's the Hard Luck Show.
Come on.
Coming at you today.
Yeah.
From Southern California.
Yeah.
The San Fernando Valle.
Yeah.
And a very special guest. But first, on my right, my co-host and my partner
is Chumahan, Bowen, American Indian, Southern Californian, elegant barbarian. And I am out in the heat again. Yeah, here we go. There's a new one for you.
And if you're riding my bitch, hey, yo, ho, flow sicker than drip.
Yeah, I like that shit.
Come on. What you know about
the new Geronimo?
Reservation rap? What do you know about reservation rap?
Big fish in a small
Yeah.
Come on.
Fuck yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
My word is
Man. And on sound,
Sean
Lewis.
Certified audio professional engineer.
I woke up this
For the
morning
hard
ready to roll.
Look.
With all my green bomber
Show.
Introverts represented.
You do not know what's coming from this dude, bro.
No, you never
Week
know.
to week, you do not know where this head's
never know.
I
at.
gotta keep you guessing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You see what's up?
Hey, introverts represented.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special show for you today.
Super
Okay.
special.
We've had this podcast for about a year and a half.
I mean, I don't even know if we should actually do this. It's so special that maybe these guys aren't ready for
Let's
this.
pack up and go home.
All right, thank you very much.
As we scaled out this show, and as I originally wrote down people that I wanted to have on the show and shoot it over to my partners to see, this gentleman's name was on that list. These are people that have inspired me. These are friends of mine. And not for fucking 10 years or 20 years. I'm talking about since I was a teenager.
30 plus years,
Yep.
35.
Damn. My boy, man. Just a beast, bro. He's just been a steady, consistent beast in the art world. Creating from apparel to fucking his own brands to graffiti to street art to contemporary art. I mean, everything you can imagine, bro. This guy's...
Right.
We're going to get into it. I want to welcome to the show the infamous, the illustrious,
The amazing.
the talented,
The
super
spontaneity.
talented, Mr. Risk Rock to the show.
Yeah. Woo.
Got him.
Got him.
Got him.
Got him. Wait, here he comes. Look at that. He's juggling spray cans.
Yep.
Look at that.
These chicks are all showing their tits. Pull your fucking shirt down. What
Look at
the
this.
fuck are they doing, man?
He's juggling 5 spray cans. He just lit them on fire. Oh, his beard's on fire. Put that out.
Hey, put that out.
Hey, put that out.
We need you all right, bro. We need you to not catch on fire before the fucking. You can do that after the podcast.
My bad.
Kelly.
Yo.
God
What
damn.
up, big dog?
What's up, brother?
Man,
Welcome, man. Welcome to the Hard Luck Show. And thank you for
It's great to
having
be
us.
here.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. This is amazing. I got to tell you guys just shit all over my show, man. Like, I do my little live stream. You guys came in and got mics. I can hear you. It's crazy, you know?
Man.
But,
what?
I was just going to say, do we want to introduce real quick? Because
Yes.
we might hear from a gentleman who's sitting over on my right.
Kelly has a friend here as well. Risk has a friend over here.
Why don't we have Risk?
I got a friend.
Why don't
Yeah,
Risk?
he's got a few friends.
Risk, do you want to give the illustrious introduction to this man that's sitting here with very good posture?
Yeah, I'll probably fuck it up, so I'll let
Do it.
Sai tell his story.
Well,
because
there it is. That's who I am.
Yeah.
This is Sai. Is there cameras? Or
No.
No. Hold on.
no
hold on.
cameras.
Everybody. All right, let's start
We
over.
hit a camera right up
Let's
there.
start it
Don't
over.
look at it.
Let's start it over.
Act
All
like
right.
you don't see it. Right?
Listen, Risk.
Yep.
Risk, honestly, you go ahead and you do it. You just off the cuff, man. And if you fuck it up, great. We're going to play it because Very few people have ever gotten the great risk to talk them up and introduce them in the podcast. So let's go. I'm going to play music. And you just go.
Right,
Ready?
motherfucker.
All right, here we go. 3, 2.
this up.
Hey, 3.
Don't.
3, 2, 1, go.
Huh? No, this is Sai, good friend of mine, jiu-jitsu vandal. What can I say about Sai, man? He's a graffiti writer, a fellow friend. I've known him for years.
Yeah.
He's actually a trainer. He trains like a lot of MMA guys that you guys, I'll let him tell you about that. But he's a good all-around dude. He's my bad Jew brother.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's a good dude, and I could still kick his ass slap boxing. But
All right, Sai. Yeah, welcome. Right on.
Sai, what's the name of your gym?
Yeah.
10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
10th
Which
Planet
one?
Jiu-Jitsu?
Which one?
West LA. The one on La Cienega and one thing.
Oh, we're
Oh,
on the corner
damn.
from you.
Dude.
Yeah.
Grew up over there.
Blue
Yeah.
Eyes does Thai kickboxing. Are you guys going to fight later? He said he wanted to spar
He
you.
could throw with Kelly. I taught him how to throw a jab and a cross.
Are you going to
Nice.
fight? Are you going to fight Risk later?
Sure.
He's going to fight Robert Standish, too.
Good times.
Very good.
No, but don't laugh. Sean almost beat up a hobo. So don't. It's a true
all-
story.
yep.
Guy, the homeless guy in the park looked at him wrong. He almost. Who else we got here?
What up, Eddie?
Hey, we got a whole crew
Eddie
coming.
from Gorilla One.
Eddie Donaldson, what's up, dog?
Yo.
This guy always makes appearances. What's up, bro?
Yeah.
Hey, man, Sean.
All right, we got like a whole
Sai,
crew
yeah.
coming through.
Some people you train.
Yeah, come on, talk about it.
I trained that guy.
Wait. The dude with the dread beard?
Yeah, it's one of my star students.
Is it? What's your name, sir?
3rd degree black belt. No, I don't know. Fuck that guy.
One love, Chumahan born American Indian, my brother. Yeah. Come on. Yeah.
I want that dude to talk.
One love.
Just want to hear his voice.
What's up, man?
Yeah.
And who's this right here? I'm shaking. Lucky? Test them.
Oh, yeah.
Don't test them, test them.
What's up?
All right, then we got another guy with a camera.
What's up, man?
What's up?
Lucky.
Dave Blazer, I take it because you smoke a lot of weed, right? You're the Blazer?
Drives
All
a
right.
blazer. I don't know.
No. All right, very good. Are we ever going to actually talk to Risk?
Yeah.
Isn't this the Risk show?
It's a revolving
First
door
off,
in here,
I
bro.
want to. First off, what I am going to say is.
My name's Alarak.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm trying to get my like
I'm
you.
trying to get mine like yours, man.
right now we got a dueling beard
Yeah,
contest.
dueling beard
It's a beard
contest.
off.
Humble bragging about their beards right now.
Same color skin.
Yes, man. You know, see it. We grow it for who don't have no beard. Like the eye, I'm growing it for you too. You see?
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Enough blessing and continue the good work.
Right on.
I feel so good. Like, you know, I'm in my neighborhood.
You are.
Yeah, you are.
Brother, you're home. You're home.
This is the
Why we need
neighborhood.
cameras.
Hey, who is the okay, so the listeners don't know we've got a gentleman, a brother who now are you originally from Jamaica? It's a funny joke, isn't it? That's a funny one, huh?
No, you see,
Go ahead.
when you say from Jamaica,
yeah, Jamaica.
first,
Jamaica.
it's from my mother. Respect to mommy.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I
Yes.
say? And
There
I
you
was
go.
born in Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Yeah.
Born
I
in
love-
St.
I
Mary.
love.
My
Hey, man, the
family-
way you say it sounds good.
My family is St. Mary, St. Anne.
Yeah. Who's your cousin?
Gang.
God?
Gone.
Me say, I Marley.
My Marley.
Me said, I Marley.
Yeah.
Me say the king himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, our family, no one love, you know?
Yeah, of course. I have a lot, as an American Indian, let me just tell you something straight, eye to eye. As an American Indian, I have a lot of respect for the people from Jamaica because it is an original culture, it is a strong culture, and it's a highly influential culture. For such, it's a little island, but so much of what's done in Jamaica and thought of Jamaica has shaped the culture of the world. Is that not true?
Me give you this.
Do it.
I address
Yeah.
Indian brothers from North and South America.
Yeah.
I address the Indians and tell them this. It's already in record.
Yeah.
That they should adopt the way of life of Rasta and the original way.
You're right.
Come off of the way that they're on right now.
Right.
To let go alcohol,
Yes.
with marijuana.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
I do.
You see, you're beautiful people. I told the Mexican brothers, you're all Indians, is one.
That's true.
So I'm saying Mexico as a nation must accept the other nation. That's where the strength is. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I have Indian chief spend time at my house.
Of course.
And I wish I could share with you. I have CD when I dress, and they'll call me again whenever they choose to.
Yeah.
But you see, my teaching from my parents and Rasta, you know, is that it is in prophecy that they're going to have this again.
Right.
So it was in the beginning, so shall it be.
Right.
Understand?
Yes.
If the fig to his fig tree. So eventually, Africa going to be for Africans. Anybody from white, Indian, Chinese can visit Africa. But China is for Chinese. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Yet we share the planet Earth, because what I preach is one love, one sun, one moon, one earth, yeah, one Selassie, one Rastafari, one. Wake up and smell the black coffee, yeah. Wake up and smoke the Cali. Wizzy, get wise, air. Yeah, this is all the Rasta I say. One planet Earth. One universe. Let's love one another.
Yeah.
Let's build a better world. Set up thinking tank to make planet Earth better. And that's why I didn't know this.
Thank you.
That's it.
Excellent.
There it is.
Thank you.
Well, all right. So thank you, Risk. I think that was all we needed to hear. We're going to pack up and leave
we're
now.
going to go. Thanks, Risk. That was great.
You're welcome.
Thank you, man. You never know what's going to happen over at
Nailed
Risk's
it.
shop.
Nailed it. I think me and Cy, or when I was when Risky, when you were getting ready to go to, you were taking care of some business before we started the show. Cy, we were talking for a minute, and he goes, I think I knew Sal before I knew Risk. And then I was like, well, I certainly knew Marcel prior to knowing Risk. That's how I met Risky. Was
Can we talk about this? Can we talk about this?
Oh, we're going to talk about it. Right now. I'm going right into the story.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, so back up for 1 second. As you guys remember, we had Marcel,
Yes.
WCA, the Beer
Sal.
Nuts,
Yeah.
Marcel on the
Slash.
show. Very dear friend.
Love that guy.
And I can speak for everybody at the table, man. I mean, I love that guy. You know,
Right.
He's a special soul, man.
Beer Nuts.
Beer Nuts. There it is. Dog.
Beer Nuts.
And
That's a
the
genius
only
name.
alcoholic that I was able to ever meet that ever put it away and just went on with his life. And we were together, and he got kicked out of his schools and out of his district for graffiti. I got kicked out of my schools and my district for a bunch of other shit. And we came
What
together.
did you kicked out for?
It was selling weed. They cracked me. Some narc officer busted me selling weed. Anyways, we got kicked out. We both end up in a Cheviot Hills continuation, which is Hamilton High's continuation, and we become friends. Now, Marcel is this graffiti artist, and he's doing some of this, but he has this huge history in punk rock. He's a bass player, and he's doing all the punk flyers, and we become very good friends.
Right.
And we are in Hollywood one night, and I'm telling you right now, I was in 12th grade.
Yeah.
So I think I was about 17. We're in Hollywood. Me, a bunch of beer nuts. We're all some fucking place is having some kind of fucking show and whatever. And we're in there, and I get introduced to Risk, but just like anybody else, through Kelly. I mean, through Cell.
Was he Risk? Was he Risk?
Kelly Risky.
Yeah.
Kelly Risky. That was the handle.
That was the handle.
All
Kelly
right.
Risky.
All right.
And Kelly Risky kind of had just gotten into L.A. from...
I think I was coming from New Orleans.
Yeah. You were from Louisiana originally, right?
What I skipped all around. So my mom, this sounds worse than it is. It wasn't a big deal. She tried to kill me, and I was a ward of state. And then my dad
Sounds
took me.
Okay.
Whoa. Wow.
Whoa.
That's right
I love
over there.
Listen,
Listen,
I
that
love
sounds
worse than it is.
I hate
My
talking
mom
about
tried
it
to
'cause it
kill
sounds
me.
so terrible.
No,
But
no,
it
listen,
wasn't terrible at all. I didn't even know what happened. You know, my grandfather had kids. He
No,
picked
but
me up, he's
but
like,
hold on a second. Hold on a second. I just love the way Rich set that up. He's like, no, this is gonna sound worse than it really is. But, my mother pulled me from a spider hole, and then I was condemned by the. I didn't even know what happened.
Nah, she's got issues. You know, she was
Was
gonna
it
kill me.
postpartum? Was it?
She's listen. My mom has. I love you, Mom.
We love you.
We love you, but she had some issues. So I think she had a rough time and whatever, and she was gonna. I think it was like a thing. She was gonna kill me, kill my dad, and kill herself or something.
Sure.
Right. And my grandfather came and picked me up, and I didn't even know what happened. Right? He's like, "Come on, we're going to my house." I'm like, "Cool, let's go." And then I found out later what happened. I was like, "Oh wow, that's crazy." And then I had to go visit my dad. My dad was he was a drug dealer, became money launderer, became commodity investor. A pretty, my dad, Lucky.
I only met your dad. I only met your dad before one time I met him.
Yeah, and he was,
but he's a cool cat. He looked like I just remember looking at him and knowing this dude does some things, bro. Yeah.
So, I go to visit my dad. Are we going here? Is this all right?
Yeah.
So I go to visit my dad with my mom, and we land in Reno, right? And my dad lives in Lake Tahoe at the time. And I landed. I've never seen snow in my life. And I'm like, oh, shit, snow. Mom's like, you like that? I'm like, yeah, it's cool. She goes, good, because this is where you live. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? My dad's a big dude. He walks up and he goes, what's up, boy? I'm like, what? He's like, you think you're a badass? I'm like, well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's like,
shit.
He just grabbed me by the ears, like, come on. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck just happened? So I go to Lake Tahoe, and it was a fucking life-changing experience for me. It was great. And my dad's like, you don't like to go to school, and you like to fight. I'm like, whatever. So he hired a teacher to live with us. And
Oh shit!
Yeah,
we'll bring school to you.
Yeah, and listen. My dad was like, whatever you want to say about my dad, whatever. But he always get me in the best school district. He was on the run, so I went to a different school until uni high, until we met. Every half year, I switched schools. But when he was on a run, he'd go to the best school districts, and he all he wanted me to graduate from USC. That was his goal. So anyway, am I getting lost? What are we?
No, dude, don't even.
No.
We're like listening to the story.
Because so look at where are you at right now? What part of the country?
Lake
California.
Tahoe.
Lake Tahoe.
Oh, Lake Tahoe.
So hold on,
It's a
Lake
beautiful
Tahoe.
place.
Hold on, Lake Tahoe, because we're going to go back to Lake Tahoe right now. I meet this guy.
Yeah.
With Marcel.
Yeah.
A few beer nuts at this party.
Beer nuts.
Shake his hand like anybody else. Didn't really ask any questions. I was meeting people. Next thing I know is Sel grabs me by like the shoulder. He's like, hey, my boy's about to get down outside and we got to go have his back. And I guess this other dude that outweighed Kelly by about 40 pounds and probably 3 or 4 inches. And I'm not just saying that. This is true. He's coming down and he has his buddies with him, right?
Yeah.
Got like 5 or 6 buddies with him.
Right.
We're like outnumbered. We outnumbered him, right? But we have more. But we're going to make sure if he really wants that, he's going to get down one-on-one with this dude and nobody else is going to get in.
Yeah.
A fair fight.
Fair fight.
Got it.
These dudes get into this shit, bro. And it's like a 45-minute street fight. Like they're breaking and breathing and wiping the face off, taking the shirt. Okay, going back at it. Right?
Yeah.
Like that, like the chicken and the dad from
Oh,
Family
bro,
Guy.
it's one of them good ones, dude. And everybody's in the street. Everybody's hoping. I'm hoping somebody takes off or does something stupid, right? We're all fucking scrambling.
Wait.
And these dudes are fighting down the street in the trash.
Hold on. Yeah.
It's like fucking it's like The Godfather when Sonny fucking goes and beats dude down the street with the trash cans. That's how it was going down, dude. It was like going fucking around.
How many blocks
this guy's
did they cover?
Fucking busted up, dude. In the middle of it,
Yeah.
Kelly's busted the fuck up. So is the other guy, but Kelly ain't done. And this dude's like breathing, like he's like, what am I gonna do with this guy? Shoot this guy. And Kelly's not giving up, bro. And they're just fighting. And finally the dude just took enough, dude. And he was just like,
I hit him with the bottle.
Is that what happened?
Dude, it was poetic, bro. I hit the bottle on the wall, like, I hit him like this. I said, commit. And I pulled down. And Power, the dude I was fighting for, put him in the car and goes, he's got to go to the hospital. He's going to die. I said, let the motherfucker die. Fuck him. He probably saved me a fucking murder charge. But Power took him to the hospital. I'm like, oh, you're a bitch. So I just fought for you.
Right. And he took dude to the hospital.
But
man, all I know, dude, is it was a crazy night, bro. And
listen, but what I'm trying to get to, because it's a great story. But the issue is like, first of all, what was the fight about?
Okay.
Is that not?
Here we go. No. Okay, so what it is
That's my introduction. That's how I meet this dude, bro.
Right.
And I'm like, right away. So then
That's everybody you meet?
But then Marcel's telling me after this whole incident, he's like, for some reason, I don't know why they had it like, Kelly came from like a Boston or something, and it was this Irish, but he's like telling me about him. Now he's out here, he's a badass writer. Da, da, da. So I get to kind of hear a little bit more about who this guy is. But inside my heart, I just kind of see him prove himself. And to me, I'm a hard guy. He gained my respect. And I was like, you know what, man, that motherfucker ain't no punk either. You know what? I was like, and that got proven down the line a few other times. And like, but he gained like I was like, man, this motherfucker, like, I don't see dudes like that all the time with that much heart.
Right.
And so any time after that, we kind of just,
Sean, we've met a lot of artists through Steve, right?
Yeah.
And like, how many of them are ones where the story is that there was a fight that Steve witnessed between the artist and somebody else, and then Steve was like, and you know what? Like, after he kicked that dude in the fucking nipples, I was like, I like that guy. There's not a lot of guns. And you know what? After Risk broke that bottle and gouged that dude's eyes out, I was like, you know what? I have a lot of
that guy
love
could be a friend of mine. That's
you know what? I can hang out with
when
that
he
dude.
said, fuck him, let him die, I was like, yeah, that's a solid dude right there.
I was like, you know what? That's a guy with principles. You know what I mean? Fuck
You guys
that
are
shit.
stupid, bro. All right, so anyway.
Wait, what was the fight about?
It was graffiti, man. I don't know.
Graffiti fight.
Someone went over somebody. He didn't go over me because I would have killed him.
Right.
He went over my boy that's in my crew, and I said, "You check this motherfucker." So he goes up and checks him, and the guy, he comes like, "Oh, he said it was a joke." I go, "Oh, am I a joke?" It was like, I go, "You're in my crew, motherfucker. Am I a joke?" I go, "I'll handle this. Just step back." Like,
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And then
You
the
had to
guy
show him what it meant.
No, but so then when you demonstrated and modeled leadership behavior by kicking that dude's ass, then the dude was like, "Well, I'm gonna take the guy that you just beat up to the hospital."
No, and then he kind of just bought out of the crew. Like, I don't think I'm cut for this. I'm like, yeah,
Right.
you're not cut for this.
That's not commitment. Yeah, if you ain't committed for all that, then you might as well just fucking hang it up.
Yeah.
Go make Hallmark cards.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so then after that,
No, we
okay, so
were-
wait
yeah.
a second. So how long were you in Louisiana for?
Okay, so I think I quit school in 7th grade. So probably 8th grade, I was like in 7th grade, whatever. I came out to Lake Tahoe about then. So I went to Tahoe. I went to Palos Verdes,
Right.
Manhattan Beach. I think back to New Orleans. And then came out here to L.A. And when I went to Uni High, that's the first school I stayed from 10th grade on. You know?
Right.
That was it.
Did you stay in uni or did you get kicked out for graffiti?
I got kicked out, but I got reinstated. The last fucking second, bro. The last second, I couldn't walk or anything. They reinstated me. All my teachers, they got me scholarships to Savannah, Georgia, and to Art Center and all this shit. And I remember sitting at home, and they're like, get down here, you're going to walk. So I get down there. They didn't let me walk, but I graduated. My art teachers made sure I graduated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who was the... So, wait a second. So, how much of Louisiana is still in you in terms of, like, influence and culture? Because I've been to New Orleans multiple times. I'm not from the South, but for whatever reason, I have a love for the South. I love the culture.
It's the best.
And
It's a melting pot, right? So it's a melting pot. New Orleans is in me. You know, I claim New Orleans. Like, that's my hometown. Top Mob is a crew that I'm in out there. You know, they say I started graffiti in New Orleans, and it's a bittersweet thing. I love it, and I love New Orleans, and I love everything about it. So, yeah, that's definitely always in you, you know? Like, if you look at my logo, it's the full leaf with the crossbones. It's New Orleans, you know? So, yeah.
It's like part American Indian, part black, part white, part pirate, part Spanish, part French, right? It's all of that.
It's a melting pot, bro. It's the best place ever, you know? Like, and the food is so good, and... Yeah.
What's the best thing to eat down there for you? I know everybody's got their own opinion, but what does Risk eat when he's in New Orleans?
Gumbo, bro. Gumbo.
Right.
Easy.
I'm a boudin man.
All right, I'm gonna give you some before we leave.
All right. Right on. Okay. Yeah. All right. So then you guys hang out, Steve, in LA. You become friends, and then what happens?
We become friends because we're part of like a similar social network through like the Beer Nuts. And then as that starts to, it really becomes more about graffiti art because then I'm friends with Nathan, little rival, who's rest in peace, who's part of this thing. And then Cartoon, and then now Cartoon wraps around back with Risk, and it's like me and Risk couldn't really get out of each other's way.
Yeah.
Right.
By one person, we were separated, right? But we weren't separated. So.
Pauly
and then
B.
Pauly B, and he was
you have
close. And we're gonna. We got
do
some
we got a
Pauly
Pauly B story?
Oh, we got a couple for sure.
Listen, for
And
the
then,
new.
but then we go from that all this shit to apparel, bro.
Right.
Apparel,
Right.
Like how this guy
Third
ends
rail.
up in apparel,
Right.
and we're in apparel,
Right.
And that really like. Once that happens, and you're like the only small guys at these massive shows, and you know each other, you bond together.
Right.
Then you're kind of like in this thing together. You
Right.
know? Bobby Tribal's another one.
Hey, Lucky,
you know?
what about being at the Hard Rock? We're both sitting at the bar. What are you doing? Waiting for this chick. What are you doing? Waiting for this chick. We get all fucked up. We're like, it's the same chick. We're like, oh, what the fuck?
I was just gonna ask
the
about you.
fuck?
Who is that a true
Damn.
story?
I think it might be, man. He wouldn't say it if it wasn't. Shit. God.
So, all right.
I remember a fucking, I'll give you another good story about it. I remember being in Vegas, and I was up all fucking at night in between trade shows, doing you know what. And I remember, I'm like, fucking, I don't know what fucking hotel it is. Some fucking, some cheap, I guess, I imagine.
He barely remembers.
And I'm like, oh, I'm coming down, dude.
Yeah.
Nothing more around, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like fucking bummed out, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm like fucking getting ready to go to my hotel, and I'm leaving, I guess, the Hard Rock. And I see Riz. Hey, what are you doing? He's in a good mood. He's got a couple chicks. They're going to the room.
Right, he's just getting started.
What's up? What do you want? I go, I'm gonna go back to my hotel. I'm like, yeah, I got that. And he like hands me this bag, this crumpled up bag. It's like an 8-ball. I was like an 8-ball. He hands that shit off to me. You were like, just take that, bro. And I was like, I stayed in that fucking casino another fucking 8 hours after that. I didn't even leave, dude. Yeah, he's like, here, kid, get lost. Yeah. Bro. But he's in apparel and fucking, you know, Kelly's got. I remember back in apparel in those days, man. It was like motherfuckers running around with a drill in their hand trying to get these dudes to pull this shit stressed out. You're trying to build your own booth for a big trade show.
Right.
All these other guys have like teams hired to set their shit up. We're trying to bribe the fucking union guys at the door. And you know, sleeping in trucks.
I boxed the union guys in ASR in Vegas. I had to box a dude. Tito Ortiz was my fucking building my booth, right? Mm-hmm. And
there you go.
I boxed this dude, and it's whatever. And years later, I'm like, motherfucker, why didn't you tell me you were fucking a fighter? He goes, you had it.
So much shit, man. And so we came close, and like we started crossing paths through multiple worlds, multiple things. And Kelly has always been Risk. It's okay if I call you Kelly, right?
Yeah, whatever.
Risk has always been very entrepreneurial, and I want to say that because guys like me and Esteban and some of us that were in like apparel, those guys were doing other things too. But you kind of get into apparel, and sometimes you kind of get locked in that. And Risk was always like, it's like, as Third Rail was happening, there was always like some other shit that you were doing.
Yeah.
There was always some other project, or you were fucking working, collaborating with somebody, and it would come out of the blue. And like he was starting to spread his tentacles and his art onto other canvases and mediums in business. And as you move to like whatever with Third Rail, the next thing I know is just like you're doing the craziest shit, dude, with all these companies, man. I'm like, you've always had that, man. It's like, I don't know. We come here today, man, and it's like mind blowing to be here in this.
This is a compound.
This compound, like, listen, you guys, listeners, and no, I'm not going to give you any hints where this place is located, but it is a fucking compound, man. They do everything from sign building to painting to automotive to
right. First of
all of it.
Risk. You purchased 2 lots, right?
Yeah,
or 4.
2. It's 2. It's 2.
It's
okay.
2 that he put together.
Right.
Right. And we're not disclosing where it's at. But first of all, there's one warehouse which has just got, I don't know, it's like 80 feet or whatever it is, a wall of fucking spray cans of every tint and shade and blah, blah, blah color. He's got somewhere on the premises fucking a chicken coop, and it ain't like what these hipsters have. It's like a 2-story chicken coop. Looks like a terracotta courtyard on the second level for these chickens. I don't know exactly what he's got going, but he's got Banty chickens.
A bocce ball court.
A
Caterpillar forklift.
Right,
Yeah, he does.
He does. I mean, dude, all I want to do is drive around with a forklift and just fuck shit up.
Right.
And then he's got ducks over there, right? He introduced us to the ducks. He's got a fucking long...
He's got a
It would
big
take
pool.
you another 45 minutes just to describe all this shit up
Right.
here.
Dude,
But
I
it is
lifted up a trap
concrete.
door. I lifted up a trap door and I saw the Mona Lisa like underneath the trap door.
That's a real one too.
Yeah, no, there's art everywhere you look. Either empty alcohol
A lot of
bottles or
Tito's
art.
bottles.
Yeah.
And demonstrating, man, like that's kind of like what Kelly's. You can't put a finger on Kelly. There's always something else that he's doing. And
Right.
man, just so much good shit, innovative. Some of the best parties, some of the best trade show parties were third rail parties,
And
bro.
fun, dude.
And dude, this dude was like, you gotta remember, dude, we're like in our early 20s, right?
Right.
And Kelly's getting like Playmates, Penthouse, shit, like a porn star. Like, he's getting all this shit. And this is like, there was stuff going on I can't even talk about on this microphone. Man. Some of the fucking parties, the fucking third rail parties, bro,
Right.
were out of control.
Bananas.
Bananas,
Think about
bro.
this shit. We can't talk about it, but like from Mike Tyson to fucking Gina Jameson, right?
Oh, bro.
The whole spectrum, like it was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Right. Is it true that
that's a melting pot. His parties were a fucking melting pot, bro.
Yeah.
Did you ever hang out with Mike Tyson?
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah.
And was that the Tiger Mike Tyson?
Tiger.
Yeah.
Scary Mike Tyson.
Yeah, back in the day, Mike Tyson.
Oh, that's so good.
Scary.
Right. Now, is it true that Bill Cosby had you come over and he slipped you some Quaaludes?
I can't talk about that. I'm in therapy right now.
Drama therapy, yeah.
Well, all right. Fuck it, man. We're talking about so many different fucking things, and you're right about risk. Now, first of all, one thing I really want to know, not necessarily how you... I mean, you can tell us if you want how you came up with the name Risk, but how hard is it? Because to me, I would think that Risk is a premium writer's name.
You know what's funny about that, bro? My friend Mark Manuel, right? He wrote Chance, and I wrote Surf, right? Mm-hmm. And at Uni High, there wasn't a lot of surfers, and I, Casper,
Right.
And I just got busted immediately. They're like, "Oh, he's Surf, the dude that goes to the principal's office every day." Has to be the dude writing Surf on the whatever. So I had to change my name, and Mark had Chance, and I thought that was the best graffiti name ever. Now I look back, that name sucks. That's the worst name ever.
Why?
It's just the letters suck. It's just whatever.
What? No. Why is that? That's only
Chance,
somebody
because-
like you would
because,
understand
bro,
that.
Look at the C to the H. Like, it just sucks. Like, it's a fucking.
It's like Cheetos, yeah.
It's just a. Like,
My name is Chumahan. It starts with a C
Oh.
and an A.
I'm looking at it in a different way though. I'm looking at the weights
it's
and
okay.
balances of letters, right? So,
Yeah.
and it's too long. Everything. But anyway, a 4-letter word is
Right.
Perfect, right?
Primo for graffiti, right?
Right.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm sitting in somebody's room, and I look up, and there's a board game, and it says Risk. I'm like,
Get the fuck out of here.
oh, yeah, whatever. That's kind of corny. So I resisted the name for years. I did Isrock, Rizrock, iRock, because I wanted the iRock Z. That was my fantasy card.
Right, of course.
And it was like Rizrock, Risk Rock, and then Risk, right? And I was like, fuck it, I'll just do Risk. And now I'm so blessed. I couldn't have the better name in graffiti ever. Like, it's the best
Right.
name in the world in graffiti.
Let me ask you this. Do you feel that name actually chose you?
It had to, because I resisted it so much, bro. I
That's
was like, fuck that. I'm not writing that corny shit. Now I'm like, I love that name. Like, I'll fucking die for that name. I fought for that name. I did everything for that name. Right. Yeah.
And when was the transition where you had to admit yourself that you were dancing around the fucking Risk name by using all these different variations?
Well, like you said, I was risky, right?
Yeah.
And then as we grew up, right, we're risky. And then I'm hanging out downtown, I'm Risco. And then it's just Mr. Risk. And then and now I'm Risk Rock. And it just natural formation just happens, right? Like cartoon, Mr. Cartoon.
Yeah.
Like we just we keep our name, but we kind of change it a little bit, right?
Right.
So, and now I'm full circle back to Risk. I mean, this is Risk, whatever you want to fucking call it. Risk Rock, Risco, Risker, Riskomatic, Riskity Doodah, whatever. It's Risk,
I fucking love that.
Dude, how'd you get into graffiti?
Okay, so I was at Uni High, and I was a problem kid, so I was drawing on the desk and shit. Like, I would draw I loved art, so I drew like waves and shit, whatever. And this kid comes from New York, And he's like, hey, what do you write? I'm like, I don't write. I draw pictures. And he's like, what do you write? I'm like, I don't write. I draw. And I was a little
oblivious,
disturbed. Like I get mad. I was like, man, if you fucking ask me what I'm writing, I'm gonna punch you in the fucking face. Like I draw pictures. And he goes, no, it's a subculture. We do this, we that. And he showed me pictures of trains. And I was like, that shit's amazing. It blew me the fuck away. And my whole desk, I don't know how I didn't get. I did get busted, but the whole desk was just covered like crazy in my books or whatever. And so he told me about this subculture graffiti. And that day I went and I stole 2 cans of red and 2 cans of white down the street. And I went back to my high school. I sat there waiting for it to get dark. And it was like dusk. I was like, fuck it. It's dark enough. I jumped the fence. I did this piece. It was ugly. The most atrocious piece you ever saw in your life. And I was like, bummed. I was like, damn, it doesn't look like those fucking photos at all.
Right.
And the next day I come to school, there's 200 kids standing around going, you guys have to understand, there's no graffiti in LA at this time.
Right.
So there's 12 dudes doing it. I think Marcel's one of them, right?
Yeah.
Marcel, who I don't know at the time.
Right.
And me, I don't know what I'm doing. And the couple transplants from New York and shit. Out of the whole city of LA. Maybe 10 or 12 people. Alski, whatever. And so it's terrible, but I see all these kids go, fuck, that's cool. I'm like, that's cool. I love the energy. I love the whatever. And I'm a loner. Like, I go to schools and I fight people and I get kicked out and I go to next school every 6 months because I'm always, kids are mean, bro. And every 6 months, I'm the new kid and no one likes the new kid. And I'm like, got a chip on my shoulder and then it's always fucked up. So for the first time, I'm seeing recognition. I'm like, oh man, this is great, man. People like this shit. I'm going to keep doing it. So I came back and I keep doing it. And the pieces I thought were bomb, like I look back at them, I'm like laughing my ass off. But I did crawl up on the roof and do some crazy shit that they couldn't buff, right?
Right.
So these surf pieces with flames and crazy shit. And then I broke into the school. I did what I call the locker rockers because I noticed they couldn't buff the shit on the metal, right? It was hard for them to figure out. So I was like, how can I fucking get my shit to stay up? Because they could always buff the walls, right? So I broke into the school. I did called the locker rock. I did a surf piece on the lockers. I went in the girls' bathroom. I wrote "You Love Risk" on the mirror and shit like that. And I did a wipeout piece from the second floor down to the first floor, a big wave, and I wrote "Wipeout." And that was it. I came back to school, and now motherfuckers are like tripping. They're like, "Whoa!" And the janitors were like mad. They're like, "Hey, you guys want to see someone's legs broke? We'll give you $200. Tell us who did it." And I'm like, "Oh shit!" And there's a bunch of kids in school. Like, if they knew it was me, they'd rat me out. I was like, oh, man, I'm getting my legs broke right now. Yeah. So I'm just sitting there watching it. And then, eventually went on, and I got busted at school. And then I changed it to Risk. And then that's when the beer nuts come in play. I thought I was super fucking crafty. Because I was Cajun from the beer nuts.
Cajun from the beer nuts.
I was Cajun, bro. So... I purposely tagged all my lockers and books with Cajun.
Right.
So after they busted me for surf, I started writing Risk. They go, "You think we're stupid? We know it's you. Come in." They pull me in the office. I went, "I'm not Risk. I wish I was that dude. That dude's up." Like, they look at my books. I go, "Oh yeah, you got me. I wrote my books. I guess I got to pay for the books. It says Cajun." Like, and that was it. And then,
red herring.
Shaft.
And then Cajun. After that, like that's when graffiti became serious to me. I was like, all right, now this is 007 shit, and the detectives came in the house, tried to arrest me. My dad was a gangster motherfucker, and I'll never forget, we were having dinner, and the detectives came in and they're like, "Hey, so this was going down. Just sign this paper. You might have to go to camp for the summer, blah, 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 but whatever." I'm like, "Fuck you, it ain't me." And they're like, "It's clearly you." I'm like, "It doesn't look like me. It's a shot from the back. It's the front doors of Union High School. And it's a shot from the back. I had long hair and shit." And my dad's like, "Son, it's clearly you. Sign the fucking paper and let's move on with this." I'm like, "What? You're the motherfucker that tells me never fucking admit anything.
You don't rat on your friends. You keep your mouth shut."
And I was disgusted, bro. And I didn't rat. And my dad's like, "Congratulations." Oh, that's what he's like. "Congratulations. Now you're going to YA and all this." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." And it never happened because I beat the case, right? I told him, I said, "See, motherfucker." And that's when I ran away. I lived in Hollywood, the loft that you were at when I got in that fight.
Listen to this. Are you listening to this, Steve? Listen to the interesting aspect of this. So, Risk is growing up. He's developing his art, part of which is antisocial in the sense of the institutions. The young folks, though, they like it. And he's going with it. And he's figuring out ways to beat it. Now, you can honestly see that he's got this dad who was, I think he said drug dealer, and then a commodities trader, which I don't know the difference between the two, but okay. Right? I mean, I don't know.
Right.
Right, one's inside, one. But, okay. So and so finally the heat comes down on Risk, and it's like and they're going over to, and his dad's telling him to do what his dad won't even do. That goes against his dad's own personal
100%,
values.
100%, bro.
And as soon as Risk realizes, like, wait a minute, I beat the case because I didn't fucking fold under questioning.
Yeah,
right. He runs away. And I guess what I'm trying to get at is for him, it was betrayal from his dad, not because his dad. It was because his dad didn't adhere or didn't think Risk should adhere to his dad's own personal values for himself. For Risk, he decided that he was going to go against it and try to push his son in a direction that even he wouldn't go. And it's reversed because in that instance, technically, if you think about mainstream culture, you would say, oh, okay, well, his quote-unquote criminal father was urging Risk to do quote-unquote the right thing. But in Risk's world, it was the opposite.
Yeah.
Right?
Bro, so in 7th grade, when I went to Tahoe to visit my dad,
right.
I used to build tree houses and forts and shit. I love that shit.
Yeah.
And I'd go steal wood from construction sites to build it.
Right.
So there's this big hill, and I'm on the top, and I'm throwing wood down the hill. It slides all the way down the hill to where I want to build my tree house, right?
Makes sense.
I guess the cops are driving by, and they look up on the hill, and they just see a scattered wood all the way down the hill. So they come pick me up, and they take me in, and they take me home, and they go get your dad, right? So I go in there, and my dad's sleeping. I never forget it. We had this. My dad was fucking so many chicks and was like retarded. We had this A-frame house in Tahoe. And I wake my dad up, and I remember pushing him, and he was on a waterbed, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, of course, bro.
He's like, get out of here, kid. I'm like, Dad, the cops are here. I'm like, get out. He's like, get out. Dad, the cops are here. He's like, where? I go, in the room. My dad goes, looks up, and he's like, how can I help you, officer? And my dad gets up and kind of brushes the cop outside and starts talking. And the cop's like, listen, I'm not going to arrest him. He stole some wood, this, that. My dad's like, all right, cool, thank you. Officer. Comes out, my dad beat my ass. I go, what happened? Not because I stole the wood. He goes, you never bring him back here. And he grabbed me by the ear again, brushed me in the house, and next to the bed is like a bunch of pounds of weed, right?
Right.
He goes, you never fucking bring him back here. Go to the fucking lockup and call me. Don't ever bring him back to the house. I was like, all right. So this is my dad, right? And all of a sudden now we're having dinner years later in high school, and my dad's like, just tell him it's you. I'm like, what the fuck are you? Who the fuck are you?
Why did
Where's
you,
my dad?
Why did you put me through all those painful lessons, which I understood. There was a logic to don't bring the cops back where the weed's at, son.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a logic to that.
Yeah.
And growing up, you're like, okay, that makes sense. Got a pound of weed and a bunch of naked chicks. I don't need to be bringing the cops up in here. That's an ass whooping. I get that. And then for him to all of a sudden do a 180 on you because it's inconvenient to him.
Yeah, well, I think he's, I have a stepmom now, and maybe he's trying to
go legit.
Maybe he's thinking he's whatever. I'm not getting into that. But
Right. But I mean, okay, so part of being a writer, maybe even part of being an artist, at least some artists anyway, it seems like, it has to do with it's almost like necessary to have a kind of not anti-establishment, but like whatever the mainstream rules that you guys have set up and everyone's decided we're going to agree to kind of live by.
Yeah.
If I'm going to try to say something that's going to grab attention, or I'm going to do something, I have to break that. I have to be able to not let that control me too much. Is that something that you've thought about or explored in terms of your art?
Yeah, I think so. I don't like the word graffiti, man.
Go ahead.
I never used that word for years. I was like, the graffiti is applying meaning to a surface. What I do is art. I didn't use the word, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, and then I got to a point where I'm like, man, fuck it. It's graffiti. Take it or love it. Take it or not. Like, it's graffiti. Some of it's art, some of it's vandalism. It just is what it is, So
Right.
I came full circle, but I hated stereotypes. I hated anything that fits in a box. I hate, like when people say you're a graffiti artist, I'm like, no, I'm just an artist.
Right.
I happen to do graffiti. And now, graffiti is one chapter in my life story. I do public murals, which is different than my graffiti.
Right, St. Joe's.
Sculpture's different than my...
Yeah, I got to interrupt you right there, man,
Yeah.
because today a buddy of mine was hitting me up saying, you're doing your podcasting. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, who you have on? And so as I'm about to tell him, Risky, for some reason, for a second, I like paused, and it was like, I didn't even want to call you a graffiti artist. And not that there's anything wrong with graffiti art. Yeah. But I feel like calling you a graffiti artist is putting you in this little it's making you way smaller than you are. Like, it's not. And I really look at you as like a contemporary artist. Right. You can do.
Well, I think graffiti, like, it's a negative connotation, right? And I like
something made me pause.
Listen, I think it was Olympics, and I don't know when it was. Fucking whatever those Olympics were, and we were all bidding for doing murals on the freeways, right? And everyone got it, and then they said, all the graffiti artists, they go, why don't you all paint together, do one mural? I'm like, wait a minute, what are we, a bunch of little kids? Like, would Picasso paint with Michelangelo? Like, why do we got to paint together? Just give it to one of us or whatever, who cares? And I was so burnt out by that. I was like, fuck this title shit, man. I'm just a fucking artist, man. Fuck you.
Right.
Right, but here's the thing. It is true that you're an artist, and it is true that you have done graffiti. And it is true that lots of different people have labels, but you went beyond. I mean, part of the thing that's great about being able to talk to somebody like Risk is that he's got some decades and years behind him in experience with art. Like, for instance, you went back to fine art school at USC, right?
Yeah.
So let me ask you, seriously, and don't give me this humble bullshit.
Yeah.
When you go back to USC, you've already kind of got a name for yourself to a certain extent, right?
Yeah, I already won the world championship, so like I was like, I went in there it was a little different.
Right. And so when you go into USC, which is a top-notch Southern California school, after, having basically your art teachers in high school drag you through graduation, right? And now you went out there and did some shit that everybody told you was fucked up vandalism, and eventually now you're the champion of the world, and guess what? They want you to come to USC and study fine art. What was that experience like? Okay,
so it was dope, but you have to understand. So graffiti still, at that point, is still kind of new, right? So now there's a couple hundred writers in LA, who cares, whatever. But like, so I'm at USC, about a couple thousand. This is graffiti's popular, and my teachers are like, this kid is already more famous than we'll ever be. So no, I'm saying
true.
No, but the way they say, because they're defending me to the rest of the class. So when people are doing fruit bowls,
right,
they're like, nah. I'm like, I ain't doing that shit. They go, all right. So I hung a spray can with a noose. So my oil painting thing, like everyone's finals a fruit bowl, right?
Yeah.
Mine's spray can hanging from a noose.
That's your still life.
Yeah. So they created the curriculum for me, and it was blessing. It was awesome, and I had the best teachers ever at USC, and it was fucking amazing. They're like, this is never going to apply to you, so don't do this, do this. And they wrote on the curriculum for me, right? And it was great. And shortly after that, I had a lot of kids go to USC, and I'll tell you why. But I had a lot of kids go to USC, and they're like, dude, my USC was not like your USC. It was fucked. The teachers were like, I don't want to see that shit here. Keep the graffiti home. Don't do it here. And they're like, but Risk was here. And they go, that's Risk.
Right.
That was it. So what happened was all these kids came, and they had the mentality that they thought they were graffiti artists. So like, they want to do this. And the teacher's like, no, it's not that you're a graffiti artist and you're different. It's like, he's already established. That's why he did that. You guys have to learn the foundation before you can do that.
Basically, that's Risk, and you're not.
No, but it's important what Risk is saying, because to a certain extent, in all art, including now, like hip-hop, if you want to fucking talk about film and Quentin Tarantino maybe, like, you get the one person who kind of broke the mold a little bit and made a name for themselves when there was no safety net. There wasn't a model. There wasn't, right? When your dad was like, hey, cough it up and tell the cops and we'll fucking see you next summer, and you're like, what the fuck? And then you ran away and then did your shit. Yeah. It wasn't like you had on your career development sheet that like, oh, and then eventually I'll get to USC that way, right?
Yeah. And, so USC, so my teacher said, I said, can I go paint on the roof? And they said, yeah. And I think they thought I was going to paint just like a little square. I did the whole roof, right? And it made, the Daily Trojan was a newspaper at USC, and Tommy Trojan, I had the big picture of him, and I had the Risk piece and all this shit.
Yeah.
And it made the newspaper, and people were like loving it and this and that. And then I walked, the dean came out, and she was a lady, and she came out, she goes, oh my God, it's amazing. What is it? I'm like, spray paint. And I'll never forget, bro. She was like, oh, we can't have that. It's anarchy. Bro, this is the dean of the art department at USC. I'm like, what the fuck did you just say? So my reply is, hey, you could suck a bag of dicks.
Right.
I got kicked out. So I get kicked out, and again, my teachers come to my fucking aid, make sure I get reinstated and get.
Because isn't it true, Risk, that like in terms of an art program, art needs credibility, even at a fucking place like USC. And doesn't it, like, having you there and having you study along there and having you being defended by the professors against the administrators, doesn't that add, at the end of the day, credibility to their art program?
Bro, so what happened was I get kicked out. I get reinstated. I get a scholarship, blah, blah, blah. And they make a poster of that wall, and they send it to every high school in the United States. It's the first time they ever did that.
Right.
So that's where all these graffiti artists flooded USC.
And it's crazy because USC is in a certain area of town in Los Angeles. For all the people that can't afford to get into USC or aren't invited into USC, they love fucking graffiti.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And then, so my first museum show was Mocha, right, here in Los Angeles.
Right.
And this lady comes up to me and she goes, "We did it. We did it." I'm hugging everyone.
We did it.
I hug her. I'm like, "Yeah, we did it." And I'm like, "Who the fuck's that?" Like, the next day, I'm like, "Oh, that's that bitch."
No.
Yeah. I was like, she's like, "We did it." And like, fight on. I was like, oh.
What, the
hell
dean?
no.
Yeah.
The dean
this
was
is 20
ready
years later.
to
She's like,
jump on the
yeah,
bandwagon.
she's like,
Yeah.
"We did it." Yeah, I was like, oh.
She probably had like two people to take pictures of her while she was like hugging you.
That's
They're
the
like,
story
"Yes,
of
we
a lot
arrest-"
of people want to try and, man, that makes me sick.
All right, you think that's crazy. Okay, but actually what I wanted to learn when I read that about what you went through there is so you go out and you did a lot of self-study before you went to USC, right?
Yeah.
So what part of USC was actually the hard part for you in terms of art technique where you were like, fuck, but you knew you had to learn it if you were going to really know art?
Okay, so check it out. When I finished USC, at one point I was like, I don't think I learned anything, right? Like, I was like, what the fuck did I learn? But later on, years later in life, in the gallery and my stuff, I used like a lot of 3-point concepts where I got 3 hot spots and contrasting colors. All this shit that I'd use every day, I learned there. I never knew that. I didn't get that. So when I graduated USC, and I was like, what I learned, I was like, I didn't learn shit. Years later, when I'm actually a studio artist in the gallery doing museums and galleries, whatever, and I have to break down my shit. Like, critiques, that's the biggest thing I learned at USC. Be able to take a critique, because that's like gnarly, right?
Yeah.
But I critique myself.
Right.
And I was like, whatever, and I'm like, oh man, I learned a lot of fucking shit in school. Like, you know, I know a lot of shit. Like, it's like, you don't realize what you learn there. And it's experience. And I say this to kids all the time. I'm like, they go, what should I do in life? I said, travel as much as you can. Mm-hmm. Visit other cultures and places and people and experience that. That's the greatest lesson in life, you know?
Right.
And I think college is the same way. Just fucking go through it, do it, and you're going to have these experiences. I don't know if you're going to remember what you learned,
right?
But you learned something, you know?
Right. So, okay, so you came out of that and you're like, okay. Now, another thing that I learned about you, which blew my fucking mind, and maybe it's not that big a deal. Maybe you're going to do a humble brag, but is it true that you were knighted in Italy? And tell Steve about that.
What the
Tell Steve.
Tell me about that.
Come on.
This is a true story. So Prince Medici from the Medici family
get the fuck out
comes
of here.
He hears about this studio, right? He wants to visit it, right? So I come on.
He came here.
Yeah. So he comes in, and he's a player, bro. He's a Prince Medici. He's
Medici.
Yeah. He's a young dude. And he's living his best life.
Okay. All right.
And he comes here and he's like, whatever we talk about, this shit and that shit, this, that. And he goes, yeah, I think you're like a knight. I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like,
by the way, I've got this strange feeling. You're kind of, are you a knight?
Yeah, because I'm doing a lot of stuff with charities at the time, this and that.
Right.
And he made some comparison like to Robin Hood or some shit.
Kind of.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And he goes, I think I get united. I'm like, shut up. I go, first of all, I'm Jewish. He goes, oh, no. This is funny. He goes, no. We are very open-minded. We've even knighted a gay guy.
You're like, I'm pretty sure you guys have knighted more than one gay guy.
He's like, I'm in.
I'm like, so, and I think he's full of shit. So I'm like, all right.
Of course.
I go, well, yeah, send me the tickets, right? And all of a sudden, he sends tickets. I'm like, whoa, this really? So I go to Rome and I visit the Vatican, and Michelangelo's studio, his family owns the church, the private church where like the equivalent of their president, all these people go, and it's like a mini Vatican. They have Cavalli, they have all these artists, right?
Right.
Michelangelo, and they're like, touch it. I'm like, I don't want to touch it. And they're like, no, you can touch it. They go, please touch it, because you'll never have the experience to be able to touch these paintings again. And I'm like,
a Michelangelo.
yeah, and like,
get the fuck out of here.
You want to know?
That guy, by the way, Michelangelo was the first. When I was in 3rd grade, they said you had to write a report about an artist. It was Michelangelo who I wrote about.
Okay, so I'm going to blow you away now.
Do it.
Now I'm where all the priests sleep and shit, right? Right? And there's a bust, right, of a lady's bust, and it's Michelangelo's statue, right? And I'm touching, feeling, whatever.
Yeah.
And they go, yeah, this is Michelangelo's statue of the mistress he had, right? And the mistress is the lady that funded the Vatican, right? And there's a tunnel that goes from this church to the Vatican. So every night they meet on this little balcony, and she's the person funding everything, and they have an affair, whatever.
Right.
So long story short, I go, hey, is this like ancient porn? Like, because I'm touching the bust, right? And the priest didn't crack his mouth. He goes, oh, yes.
Because that's true.
He's like, yes.
That's true.
Yeah.
There was a lot of naked statues and naked things.
And that was porn, because they didn't have photography and shit.
100%.
So he built a statue to jerk off to, probably, right?
Of course.
So listen.
Of course.
So
and then all these old blue hairs who are against jacking off are now praising it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They just turn the other eye when it comes to that. Right? Michelangelo, that's fine. That's all good. So then they go, you want to paint in his studio? So I was the only artist to paint in his studios in 400 years, whatever it is. But I floundered, because they go, here's your wall. And I go, you guys sure, man? Like, I don't know. And I was like, the next day I went home, I was like, fuck that. I'm coming back. I'm going to kill that wall. They thought about it. So I get there next day. They have all these tarps down. There's a canvas. They go, well, we just think you should paint in the studio, not the wall. I was like, damn it. I fucking blew it. But I was the first artist to paint in his studio since he died, right? Wow. And it was amazing, man. And the whole experience was amazing. And I'm me, so I'm in Rome, and I'm fucking partying and shit. Like, I'm I think
like a Roman.
I think I had a hell of a night before, so I have to show up for the fucking nighting. And I think I have sunglasses on. It's online. You can see it, right? And I'm fucking just whacked out, right? And the guy's like, they're knighting me. I'm like, and I threw up a West Side. Like, they take a photo. Like,
did they actually do that? Because I didn't watch it, because I wanted to hear it from you. Did they do a sword on your shoulder and all that shit?
Yeah, and I looked down, I'm like, fucking Prince Medici, motherfucker has his red Prada shoes on. I'm like, this motherfucker, like.
Right. Yeah, the Medicis are deep. They were popes. They were everything.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still everything.
So he took me around to the south of Italy, and he took me all these places, took to his castle where he grew up, and all these things. And it was amazing, bro.
Did he let you play with his private army? Where you're like, hey, listen, when I was a kid, I used to take these guys and just blow up shit.
Dude, I got so many Medicis.
Wow.
I got some stories. This dude was wild, man.
I love that.
Like, I guess we fuck it. Let's go. So we're at this restaurant, right? And he comes to the restaurant, and it's like, whatever, and it starts raining, and they kind of push everyone out in the rain, right? And we're under this tent. I'm like, man, this is really awkward, man. Like, I feel like fucked up. And he's not even looking like it's normal. I'm like, oh, man. And everyone's looking at me like, fuck you. I'm like, oh, man. And he's like, I got a great story about this restaurant. This is the best restaurant. I used to come here when I was in college, my friends. And I tell the chef, he's a good friend of mine. I tell him, I go, do not serve that pretty girl over there. Do not serve her. So after 2 hours, I go, what's wrong, young lady? What happened? And she goes, they didn't give me my food. He goes, oh, that's a travesty. I take you back to the kitchen. The chef is my friend. I take her back to the kitchen, the special meal, take her home. We have it a sex.
That's a good one, huh?
Yeah, that's fucking fantastic.
And then his friend, I think his name was Fred or some shit. It's like his lifelong friend or some shit. And we're all ordering, and he orders risotto. He goes, and I'm like, what's so funny?
Did you see that?
And he's like, he ordered the risotto. I'm like, what? He goes, he's a gay.
He's a gay.
And I'm like, I don't get it. He goes, oh, every Italian guy, they order the pasta very quick. You go home, you have it a sex.
Yeah.
You order risotto, 2 hours. You're not having no sex.
That's the internal Italian joke that you
bro.
never learned about.
They just based off of your actions, they know exactly where you're going.
Oh, I got to stop ordering risotto. Oh my god. All right. Well, so okay, that is. So, did they give you a medallion? Do you
I
have
got a robe? Oh, check this out. So I got the robe. I got the oil, the wine, the medallion, whatever.
The sword?
I didn't get the sword.
No, they don't give you the sword.
But I got the robe. But check it out. So I'm coming home, and I'm going through some layovers. I think I was in Alabama or Atlanta or somewhere, going through a layover. And I had the robe in my carry-on, right? And these guys take it, and they open it up, and they call the other dude over there, and they're all fucking going ham. They're going nuts. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, fuck you, man. Whatever. Fuck you. Whatever. What they're tripping on. So I don't think anything about it. So I get on a plane. I'm sleeping. I wake up, I'm like, oh shit. They thought it was a KKK robe. I was like, they're a black dude. So I was like, why were they tripping so hard?
Yeah.
I didn't get it at all, bro. I was like, fuck you, give me my bag. I gotta catch my plane. And they're like, they go, what can we do? And the guy's like, nothing. Give him his bag. Like, have a nice day, sir. I'm like, yeah, fuck you too.
I thought it was KKK.
Yeah, they were.
I got on a plane. I was like, oh,
man.
You know, like the one guy was like, I don't think he's KKK, and they're like, well, where did he grow up? And they're like, Louisiana. Oh yeah, he's KKK. Yeah, exactly. So the other aspect is so what kind of music are you listening to? When we came in, you were listening to basically classic rock with a southern twinge on it.
Yeah.
Right. But do you have music that you listen to when you're doing art, or do you have separate musics, or what do you do?
Everything, bro. I love like all musics. I love it all. I love all of it. I love it to death. I do listen to a lot of classic rock, with the southern classic rock for sure. I grew up, Muggs and Cypress Hill. We grew up in that era, so I'm a big fan of classic hip hop too. But I listen to fucking you name it. I listen to it. Like
you mentioned earlier drums. Do you play the drums?
I bang on the drums. I suck. My uncle was a drummer. He was a big influence in my life. I got a lot of friends that are drummers. So I got this drum set for my daughters. We had a whole studio, and I went overboard, like retarded. Like I got the best pianos and organs and drums and guitars and amps and blah blah everything. And my daughter's like 9, 11, 14, and 21, right? And the band broke up like within a week, right?
Of course.
So they all went to their rooms and they took pieces. Like one took the drums, one took this, whatever.
Right.
Actually, none took the drums. That's why I have them in my studio.
Right.
And the band got broke up, and now I have this studio equipment spread out over the house. Yeah.
Right. But let me. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask. How long did it take before your girls realized, like, oh, Dad's cool? How long did that take?
Or some of them, or have they all even come to that decision yet?
Okay, my youngest ones, all of them think Dad's cool. They're daddy's girls, like they're whatever. My stepdaughter, she's 21 now, and she's been with me since she's 3. She had a rough time with it because I got a limo, right, and Retina painted the limo, right, and she wanted to take the limo to prom or some shit,
right.
And I go, here's the limo. She goes, I'm not taking that. I go, what do you mean? She goes, it looks like some gangbangers wrote on it. I'm like, motherfucker, that ain't gangbanging shit. That's fucking Retina. That shit's worth $2 million. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And she's daddy's girl, so she fucking bamboozles me. I paint over the fucking limo, make it all pretty and shit, right?
Yeah.
Thinking I could always get red and paint it again, whatever. Who cares? Right. And whatever. So this goes on and on and on. And I pick her up. I take the Chevelle, and she's like, "Dad, it's too loud. Don't pick me up in the Chevelle anymore." I'm like, "All right, cool." Yeah. I take the monster truck. She goes, "Dad, you look like the Grand Wizard of KKK. Don't pick me on the truck." I'm like, "Man, I can't do anything right for you, man. Fuck you." Like, whatever. Yeah. So now she goes to NYU. I send her to NYU, and this is gonna get sticky. So so the Hell's Angels clubhouse is next to her apartment, right? And there's some words. I'm like, tell them motherfuckers. They go, oh, Dad, they love you. They carry my groceries and everything. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
Right on.
And I'm like, yeah, just, tell them who you are. Stay away from blah, 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 blah. But things change right after that, right?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden she's like, Dad, can I hang the Banksy in my room? I'm like, fuck no. You can't hang the Banksy in your dorm. Like, get the fuck out of here. And she's like, Dad, can I have a painting? I'm like, yeah. Dad, my friends, like, they love you. So all of a sudden I was cool, Dad. So with her, it took a little longer,
Right, because there was there was maybe a point in her like life or whatever where she wanted to try to live normal. Yeah. Or have like something normal, I guess. Is that what it was?
I don't think she just realized that, I think to her, her dad did graffiti and it was a weird thing and she didn't know about it, And then when she went to college and she's social media, she's like, oh, you're kind of like, people know you, I think it was different,
Right. Steve, did you have a...
Oh, I had a question.
Yeah, you did. What
I have
was
a question.
Go ahead.
I need to understand.
Uh-oh.
I need to understand how does the whole you getting turned on to graffiti... take me from there to how you guys all end up in WCA. How you end up in WCA and crossing paths with... Cell and Cartoon and guys like that.
Yes, okay. So, Rival, rest in peace. We talked about Nathan, right? Yeah. So, I'm at Pan Pacific. I'm painting there. There's this guy, Soon, from New York. He's a real fucking dick.
Right.
And,
right. Shout out to Sid.
Yeah, shout out. What's up, nigga? I hate you. I'm there painting, whatever, and Rival walks up. He goes, "What's up, bro? You do graffiti? I do graffiti." So we should start a crew. I'm like, hey.
Right.
He's like, fuck New York. It's about West Coast and shit. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, world class, bro. Fuck West Coast, world class. We're going to be world class artists.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't think West Coast artists. I'm like, all right, man, whatever, West Coast artists. So me and Rival started the crew. Through a fence, through a handshake, knowing each other for 5 minutes, started West Coast artists.
You two started.
Yeah, through a fence. And then Rack came. I think he was a lad or some shit. And, I was from Venice, suicidal and shit. So it was kind of a weird thing because I'm over there painting and this whatever. But graffiti had no boundaries, right? So it was different. And then Coos, Nathan Oda Coos, right? All of a sudden is like knows Nathan, Rival.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they know Marcel, and I'm like, Cell? I go Slash from Uni High.
Right.
They go, yeah. I go,
Beer nuts.
yeah, but this is before I don't know what Beard Nuts is. So Slash did a piece of Uni High, and I was like, he was this dude that I just idolized. I was like, that shit's so cool, but I never knew who he was.
Yeah.
But now these dudes that I meet in the middle of nowhere in L.A. come full circle, and Slash Marcel is going to school right next to me, introduces me, we become friends. I put them in the crew, put Sal in the crew, we started West Coast Artists. Now, fast forward.
This is early on,
83, bro. 83, 84,
Right.
85. So fast forward. Now we're like 87, 89, whatever, maybe. And I'm in college in San Pedro at Marymount Palos Verdes, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm driving around San Pedro and I see fucking cartoon shit. Mm-hmm. It says Flame. I'm like, yo.
Right.
This shit's bomb.
Before it was cartoon.
Yeah, I was like, this is bomb. So I find him, graffiti artists, we could sniff someone out. So I find him, I'm like, yo, that's your shit? He's like, yeah. It was my shit. And he's blown away with my shit, I'm blown away. His shit, we start hanging out, start bombing. Take him to LA. I'm like, you got to get in the crew. But I'm like, you can't write Flame, bro. Like, that means gay.
Right.
And then
that's the first thing I thought.
But I mean, this is back then where
And he was smoking a lot of weed too.
smoking a lot of weed.
Listen, I'm not saying it, and you're not saying it in a pejorative way.
Yeah.
It's just
I don't care what say you're fucking saying.
Right.
I'm fucking telling you.
I know.
So, I don't give a fuck what you said. I'm
just
telling
said-
you. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So anyway, he's like, well, they call me Tunes from the hood because whatever. So he started writing Mr. Cartoon, right? And then it Tunes and then Mr. Cartoon.
There you go.
But that's what happened. So we hung out like tough and we became roommates, and like he taught me, like he opened my eyes to so much shit, bro, because like he introduced me to low riding,
Right.
and a whole nother fucking world, bro.
Right.
And we were inseparable, and that so basically me and Cartoon were like West Coast artists for a while. It was just like us two, whatever. We just kind of that's how.
You guys were roommates?
Yeah, we were roommates in Third Rail downtown, the Wild Days.
Remember, you guys were even doing a little store in line together, Crazy Life stuff.
Yeah, we did Crazy Life, which was before Joker, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we opened a store down there, and we, just so many wild times,
Another thing that I saw in one of your interviews that I want to ask about is, so you designed the set for Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thriller, motherfucker.
No,
Thriller.
no, it wasn't no Thriller. It's the one
The Way
where
You Make Me Feel.
Yeah, where he's stalking that chick.
Yeah.
Right, where he's stalking that chick in the dark alleys and and you designed, like, what I remember is you said that you designed like 3 different versions.
Yeah.
Right, like New York, West Coast, and then in between.
Yeah.
And then Michael came in and said, "I'll take them all."
Yeah. Dude, he had Michael Jackson money, right? So he's like,
Right.
He's like, I don't know what I want. Just do 3 different sets. Cool, I did them.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll take them all. And that was good. But after the 10, I was such a knucklehead back then. Like, I didn't think about, like, money. I was
Was
like,
he like watching you while you were painting and stuff like that?
bro, so you have to understand, this is when I lived in a loft that you were at when I got in that fight. So I didn't have TV or radio and shit. So I didn't know the Michael Jackson transformation where he became white and all that shit. I didn't know about that shit, right?
Right.
I just remember it was A, B, C, 1, 2, 3.
Right.
Little black kid, right?
Right, with a bell pepper nose.
Yeah. So dude taps my shoulder. He goes, "Oh, you're responsible for that art?" I'm like, "Who the fuck is that weirdo?" I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Oh, it's Michael Jackson.
And everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're the chosen one." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking
Chosen one because he touched you.
about?" And they go, he touched you. And like,
touched you.
"Oh, he made Colin McCulkin's career." And I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here." And I'm like, they go, "How much money you want?" I'm like, money is not a big deal, but I need a big paint allowance, right?
Right.
I'm so dumb.
Yeah,
So I got like 30 grand worth of paint, right? So I depleted every paint store in LA of the Krylon, the good colors, right? I'm getting truckloads of paint every day. Truckloads, right? And I'm thinking I'm getting over. And they're probably laughing like, this dumb motherfucker. Like, so I finally get to Crown Paint. It's the last of the paint. And all they have left is leather brown, school bus yellow, and baby blue, right?
Yeah.
So to this day, I hate those colors, right? Because it's like this, the whatever, it represents such a fucking bad time for me. So all the pieces you saw when I broke up my chicks and said fuck you and all these ugly pieces were always leather brown, light blue, and school bus yellow. And I sold paint. So I had this apartment in the valley, and I fucking stacked the hallways with cases of paint. So you had to walk through like in a warehouse. And I thought I was getting over, man. Like, you
thought you won.
I thought I won.
Right.
And
meanwhile, you could have told Michael Jackson, like, look, motherfucker, I need 250 grand right now. And he would have laughed and pulled it out of his sock.
Yeah, you don't know.
Bro,
You're
the
a
set
kid.
was so amazing. So they had real gang members as dancers, right?
What?
Yeah. Some of those dudes were real gang members, and they're real dancers, like from LA.
Right.
But he didn't want them to fight, right? This is a time of colors, like Bloods and Crips and shit.
Right.
So he built a basketball court, and he'd have people play basketball in between the scenes to get out their aggression, right? He also had a chef there that could cook anything you fucking wanted, from lobster to steak to anything you fucking want. It was just amazing, bro. Whatever. And then
Wait.
Yeah.
So is it like on a sound stage?
It's in San Pedro on a secret sound stage. It's in a warehouse.
Right.
And it's fucking...
He's like, at 4 o'clock, I'd like some paella.
Yeah.
Well, you could have, right?
Yeah. And we're all a bunch of kids. I'm the same as the gang members, right? We're just a bunch of young kids, right?
Right.
So we're like, I want a steak. I want lobster. And that's our go-to. Steak and lobster.
Yeah, of
Right.
course.
You know,
Serve
just
and serve.
over and over and over and over. And the chef's like, whatever. Yeah.
And then, does Michael actually hang out with you guys a little bit? Like, he's like, hey, guys, who wants to play horse?
No, well,
Or does he just stand back and watch through the window and jack off and watch you guys?
Yeah,
what the fuck?
he comes and goes, right? Whatever. No, that was you.
He was with a lot of little kids in the other part of the house. Right?
Let's get the.
So he comes and goes, whatever. But like, so he comes and they go clear the set, right? No one could be there. So I hit up in the rafters, right? And I'm watching him, and I'm immature, bro.
Wait. When you're hiding up in the rafters, right? Like, are you just like hanging onto a rafter, or like you're laying on your stomach?
I don't know.
Like,
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sitting there watching, and he's like, woo, jumping around on the cars and shit, doing his dance. So what I didn't realize was he was choreographing this whole fucking video right there.
he was sketching.
Yeah, there was no like fucking set thing. He had to walk through there and decide what he was gonna do. So he's like jumping on this car, jumping on this sidewalk, and I'm immature, so I'm giggling, and he's like,
He's like looking up. He's like, who is
and I'm
that?
like,
Who's laughing at me? Tito?
yeah.
Tito, is that you?
But looking back, man, I saw something beautiful. I saw like a legendary fucking act that no one's ever seen before, and it was fucking awesome. But I was just too immature to get it, just whatever. And yeah, I gotta say, like, Michael Jackson, but like, I feel kind of sad for him, man, because he was like in a bubble. Like, no one could talk to him. Like, he did his thing, and everyone's like, clear the path, and he's like, except the dancers. He did interact with the dancers a lot.
Right, because they had a lot in common, I'm sure. But, okay, and obviously he had to tell them what the
What does that mean?
Well, it means that, if you want to really know what I meant by that, it means that if you watch Michael Jackson's moves and you look at some of the old jazz guys, and there's a great YouTube video where they compare him and somebody else, I can't think of his name, Fosse. If they compare him with Fosse, you can see where Michael got a lot of his concepts for his later moves. You actually see that. So you understand that Michael Jackson is studying dance. Like, he's not just good at what he does, but he's studying it and he's seeing what's out there. So when I say that he's got a lot in common with the dancers, there is a language that they all understand and speak. And a lot of those dancers, I guarantee you, they knew that he was translating and or adding to what Bob Fosse had done in this movie. And you can also see that while Michael didn't originate in certain sense, a lot of those moves, like with the hat and the fucking knees together and the fucking touching his dick and pointing that shit, like all that, he didn't necessarily invent that. You can see where he was able to
make it his own.
Crisp it. Yeah, he was super crisp. So that's what I remember. I mean, as far as him being a pervert, I'm pretty convinced he was. I'm not saying he wasn't, but I'm also interested in the aspect that, what Risk saw was something that, like he said, just exactly what he said. Very few people
Piece of history.
Yeah.
It would be
kind of like us coming up here to the fucking compound today. We're like, what we're getting to see, he got to see that.
Right.
Get that?
Right.
Get that, Sean?
Absolutely.
There it is there.
So let me ask you this: Did Michael fart? Did he break wind when he was running through all that shit? Like,
Nah,
did
man,
you
he
see
was-
any human aspects of him when he was dealing it? Like, did he jump up on a car and he was like, no, I should come from over here? Like, did you see? Like, did he? What did you see?
But you know what? Joe Pick, he directed it, right? Joe Pick, he's done a bunch of shit. I remember, like, that dude blew me away because he was the director and he's a fucking beast. He was just like, whatever. So they had all these cars that they bought and they rented, right? And they had this car. And it was like a fucking shitty car. It was like a lame year car. It's just like a grandma car, but it was clean as fuck, right? And he goes, Michael wants to jump on this car. And they go, well, he can't jump on that one because we don't own it. And he goes, he grabbed the sledgehammer, walked out, beat the shit. He goes, we own it now. And I was like,
What?
That's the best.
I want to be him.
That's the best fucking thing I've ever heard.
He goes, we own it now. I'm like, oh. So that blew me away. And, you know, Michael Jackson, he was like in a bubble, so I didn't get to see a lot of stuff. But there's so many things about that set that blew me away. Like, I saw Hollywood in a different light because I did Playboy, Budweiser, MTV. I did everything, right? But I come in at the end and just kind of paint and leave, right?
Yeah.
I got to see them build this thing. And like, there's a view of this one pool hall. You can see it in the video, right? It looks great.
Yeah.
The thing's only this deep, bro, from the wall to here. And the pool table is built at an angle and a curve.
For shortening.
So it looks like it's a fucking pool hall, but it's not. And I was like, wow, Bugs Bunny money.
Right.
I was like,
Right.
I got to get in this kind of world, you know, where I
Right.
can just make my shit. And that, you know, fast forward, like we talked about this earlier, Lucky, with me putting neon on my shit. Like, you know, that's Bugs. Like, that, to me, that was like, oh, I don't have to just fucking use spray paint. I could use lights, water, whatever, you know?
Right. You're not limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another thing I wanted to ask you about is what was your experience with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure? That's got to be one of my top like 20 films of all time.
You know, that was a Slick thing. Me and Slick were partners, friends, and it was kind of his gig. And I came in because like I think we were all getting really high at the time. You know, I think Slick was getting high, I was getting high, and
Of course.
I was like kind of like the go-to to help Slick out in a tough jam. So I remember painting some guitars and some shit, and we hung out with those guys. That's Crazy Girls. You know, we hang out with those guys. And it was really cool, but yeah, that's all a blur, you know.
I love it. That's like one of my favorite. That's like one of my favorite movies. And then, like, so I'm reading about Risk, and then all of a sudden, I read that. So you obviously talked to a ton of artists and stuff, but this gentleman named Ed Moses,
Yes.
who's a great artist, he challenged you to start putting things that you're afraid of in your art.
Yeah, he taught me about some Buddhist things, you know, and he was like, I said, I like the Canal Club you did. I love the crabs. He's like, they're spiders, you dumb motherfucker. I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, I'm Buddhist, and I'm definitely afraid of spiders, so I embraced them, and now I love them. And I'm not going to get too deep, but like, he taught me about this shit, and like, I have a lot of Buddhist things I'm into, and I like yin and yang, and positive, negative, and all these things. And we were working on his last mural, and I was so blessed and honored. And I think this is probably one of my biggest honors, I think, is he picked me to do his last mural, right? And I was going to paint one of his murals for him. You know, he was really old and time, and he couldn't get around, but he wanted a like-minded individual that got him to do it, right? And we're working on it together, and he passed away. So we didn't get to do it, but we're still going to do it. So it's funny you say that, because Sed Moses, his son, was just here last week.
Was he?
Yeah, and Sed's a friend of mine, and we're doing, Sed owns a ton of bars, like 20-something bars or something around LA. And we're doing one of Ed's paintings in the bar next week, so it's going to be cool.
I love it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So who is Ed Moses for people who don't know the art world that well, or some of our younger listeners and stuff? Just tell them a little bit about who Ed Moses was.
So Ed Moses, to me, is he's a contemporary artist from Los Angeles. He is the cool school. He is Ferris Gallery. It was a gallery that was here in the 60s in Los Angeles on La Cienega Boulevard. And people don't know about my art. All I'm doing is continuing dialogue that they started with keyholes and all my sculptures with the found objects and stuff like that. And you guys have to understand, what goes around comes around. So, you know, this is going to piss people off, but like, I think Los Angeles graffiti artists have been the best for years, right?
Yeah.
Better than anywhere, right? And I pay homage to New York. I'm influenced by New York. My style is New York, right?
Right.
But if you look at the Ferris Gallery, Andy Warhol, the Campbell Soup Can show, was here at the Ferris Gallery. So the most famous, iconic fucking piece of art ever was here. So our crew, my crew, I'm part of 7 Letter. We have this known gallery, and that was legendary for a minute. And you have people like great people from New York come to do their debut shows here. How and Nazem, like all these great people come here, right? And these dudes from the Ferris Gallery were beatniks from Venice Beach. We were punk rockers from Venice Beach, and they were womanizers, drug addicts, whatever you want to call them. Whatever, they had a sordid past, blah blah blah. But they set the foundation. Billy Al Bankston, Dennis Hopper, all these dudes set the foundation for contemporary art, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't get their due, and now we are. LA is finally back in a holding point on contemporary art in the art world. And so that's all part of that. So the Ferris Gallery, Ed Moses was one of the leading dudes in it. They were just fucking trailblazers. And when I used stuff in my artwork, like surf and car culture, the resins from the surfboards, and fine fetish stuff, which is invented here because in the valley we had all the Rocketdyne and all the NASA shit. We started experimenting with like high glosses and sheens like
Casper
that.
Brindle.
Yeah, Casper Brindle, good friend of ours. Went to school with him.
He was on the show.
Was he? Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love Casper.
Give him a big shout out. Casper,
What up, Cap?
Yeah,
he loves-
Casper.
He actually particularly loves all the shows we do with like hoes or like hot Playboy chicks or whatever like that. He's always like, that was the best one.
Hey, Cappy's the man. I got some Casper stories. But anyway,
Volume 2.
Yeah, so the Ferris Gallery, man, I'm continuing that dialogue. And it's funny you say that because Casper is continuing that dialogue, right?
Right.
And that's what it's all about. And so Ed Moses, he's to me,
He said the same thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what, if you remember what Casper said.
Good.
He said, I didn't invent this. This was started by a whole other set of people.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm just continuing.
100%.
As an
He
artist,
said that, bro.
As an artist, we have to continue dialogue. It's really important, right? No one invents anything. Like I did these things that Ellsworth Kelly, a big influence of mine now, but I didn't know at the time. I was like, dude, when did I do that painting? And they're like, that's not yours. That's Ellsworth Kelly. He did it in 1962. I'm like, oh shit. And I was like, oh, someone else did it. Everyone's always done something, right? It's our job to continue the dialogue. And, I did a show. Ellsworth Kelly curated a show, me and Matisse, right, at the Long Beach Museum. Another fucking great tribute in my life. I've been so blessed to be able to work with people that influenced me. And, it's about continuing dialogue.
Let me ask you this. If it is about continuing dialogue, then taking a snapshot of the dialogue where it's at now. You've seen a lot of different contemporary artists, some known, some unknown, some up and coming, some never will be. Who knows, right? What does it say about who we are in this society now based on what you're seeing?
Well, okay, the social media.
Go ahead.
Talk about social media.
Do it.
So people are down on social media, but I think it's fucking awesome because
I'm with you.
It raised the playing field, like the survival of the fittest. We've always been graffiti artists, and it's survival of the fittest, right? And competitive motherfuckers. But now with social media, when I had pen pals, Barry McGee in Frisco or Remy Ruff in London, and it took us a month to see each other's work, right?
Right.
And we had to do all this stuff, but now kids could just fucking click on something and see something amazing.
Right.
So now it's the first time in my life that I've been able to look at graffiti and I'm like, I can't do that. So my whole life I could look at anyone's graffiti and I can do it, but that doesn't mean shit because it's not mine, right? It's their style.
Right.
But for the first time I'm humbled to be like, oh, I can't do that. Like I look, I'm like, he fucking froze the can, he heated the can, he did this. I know what he's doing, how he's doing it, but I'm like, wow. So I think it's a great thing. So
Sean, do you see that? Hold on, I know the question. I got the same question.
that, Sean?
I've been telling Sean. I go, Sean, why aren't you on the Instagram? You see what all our fans are saying.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, there's too many pieces. I'm like, you sound super old right now, bro. Like,
Yeah, bro.
Look, we
Yeah.
got a world class artist who says social media is a great. I'm with you too. I hate it when people say that. When people are like, it's too much. It's social media. I'm like, you know what? They had social media before social media was called polite society, and there was a lot of bullshit during that as well.
yeah, you pick and choose what you want to look at, right?
Exactly.
You know.
So you were saying something about heating and cooling the cans. What does that mean?
Yeah,
and what does
because when
that
you
do?
said that, Sean's
I was like,
he
what?
started getting all
Yeah, he
crazy.
got all excited. So what does that do, or what technique is that?
Well, a lot of people, they freeze their cans and the pressure comes out different, right? And a lot of people heat their cans. That's all about pressure, right? So it's just
Right.
like how you work or your cans, and I can't really explain it. I could point to stuff later, and I'll show you guys how certain people do stuff, I don't know if a lot of people want me to talk about what they do and how they do it, but yeah.
Right. So, but so based on my basic understanding of science, freezing a can or making it cold would reduce pressure because you're condensing the gas inside. If you heat it up, it will push it out. So you're going to get a different explosion out of the nozzle.
A smooth versus a splatter, you know?
Right. And, okay. So
you know what I want to know about?
Do
on splatter? On the topic of splatter, give me you can give us a couple of your best Polly B stories. Give me a good Polly B story.
There's so many good Polly B stories.
I know there is, brother.
We're actually thinking of making a podcast.
You need to.
Yeah, for Polly B.
It's all about Polly B.
Yeah, it's the Polly B.
Hey, this is
channel.
super inappropriate right now, but as we talk, my girl and I of 14 years are splitting up, and she's packing up and moving on. I'm watching her load the box right now.
Get the fuck out.
Well, while we're doing the show, he's watching.
But listen. I keep thinking about Polly B. So we broke up one night, and Polly B comes in and goes, "Hey, check it out, Marisa. Listen, I know this is hard and awkward, but can I just help you? Can I help you pack up and let's speed this along? Because I need Risky to come out with me tonight." Like,
oh, no way.
And he just had that smile, like, and she's just like, "You cocksucker." And he's just like, "Hey, sorry, but let me help you pack up. Let's move this along."
Hey, listen, I know this is a difficult time, but I just greased the exit door, and I've already put some stuff in boxes. Can I help you carry it to the car? Because Risky and I are about to fucking blow up the town tonight.
In about 15 minutes.
I just stopped at the 7-Eleven and got a bunch of weird boner pills, and we are gonna fucking go out tonight.
What's up, Hard Luck fam? Join us next episode as we continue our conversation with Risk, and he follows up with hands down the most epic Polly B story we've heard yet. We also cover everything from Chuck Liddell, Bob Ross, Mike Tyson, why Lucky hates mint green, and Risk's thoughts on if an artist actually needs enemies. So be sure to tune back in for the follow-up conversation. And until then, adios from the Hard Luck Show.